Ben, I know you're going to be down in Mobile to check out the Senior Bowl. I want to talk about Mac Jones's teammate, the Heisman-winning wide receiver, DeVonta Smith. We know he's not going to be practicing on field, and he's not going to be playing in the game, but he is going to be around Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins coaching staff all week. And just so happens the Dolphins have a glaring need at wide receiver, and they have the number 3 and number 18 overall picks. Ben, I'm going to come to you first. What are your thoughts on DeVonta Smith as a fit for the Miami Dolphins with one of those picks?
Well, we talked about this on this show, I think 3 weeks ago, where I said that's the one you could probably put in pencil right now is DeVonta Smith of the Dolphins. So I'm not moving off that at all. And he's very intelligent, understands that even though he's not going to be playing, this is an opportunity to get in front of that coaching staff and make his case. And what better way to do that than down there at the Senior Bowl? So smart move on his part, smart move on his rep's part to get him down there and get him in front of those guys. Look forward to talking with him a little bit. Obviously not going to see him play, but get forward to talking with him a little bit and get him in the mix. I think Smith is a great wide receiver. Some people have Jamar Chase as wide receiver 1 or Jalen Waddle. I have Smith as wide receiver 1 in this class. I don't think it's particularly close either. He's that 5-tool receiver. He can do everything. He can return punts and kicks. He's fine going horizontal and going vertical. He's slick in and out of his cuts. And he's a willing blocker in the run game. He doesn't have the biggest physical profile in terms of, being out there and hosting somebody. Nobody's going to mistake him for Calvin Johnson anytime soon. But, he's a good receiver. He catches the ball well. He runs routes well. He's a willing blocker. He's a good returner. I don't think you can go wrong with him. But there's some people that have a little bit of a bone to pick, I guess, with the thin lower half. And I understand that, but we've seen guys with thin lower halves come in and have lengthy careers in this, in this league before. You look at AJ Green's a guy with a very, very thin lower half. So, I don't think that's going to hold him back. I think he'll be okay, and I look forward to seeing him in the league.
Yeah, I agree, and that has been the one concern, if you will, about DeVonta Smith is that frame, is that thinness, that size factor. Cody, the Miami Dolphins have an interesting dilemma, if you will, on their hands. They're sitting pretty with that number 3 pick, and they have just a ton of options open to them. Their returning wide receivers are going to be DeVonta Parker. 2 years ago, 1,200 yards. This year, banged up a little bit. That's been an issue with him in his career. Preston Williams finishing his second season on IR after finishing his rookie season on IR. And probably their third best receiver, Albert Wilson, opted out during the COVID opt-outs this past year. That's a wide receiver room in disarray. There's talent. DeVonta Parker is a big-time wide receiver when he's healthy, and Preston Williams has certainly shown flashes of that ability, and Albert Wilson, one of the league's best separators if you look at the next-gen stats. All of that said, Cody, I think you have to look seriously at DeVonta Smith with that upper echelon pick. What have you seen on the field from that wide receiver group, and where does DeVonta Smith fit into it?
Well, I can tell you this, just watching some Miami Dolphins games this year, the one thing I noticed, especially with Tua, once Tua came into the fold for them, was the fact that they didn't really have any receivers that could gain separation. That was an issue. Now, DeVonta Parker was a great possession receiver. He and Tua had a lot of great chemistry in terms of being in the right spot, ball placement. They have a great relationship with one another. However, DeVonta Parker is not the guy that's going to gain you separation. I said it as the national championship game was happening. I don't know how any Dolphins fan could watch this game and say, look, I don't want DeVonta Smith in a Dolphins uniform. He's so creative. You can use him on bubble screens, jet sweeps. You can use him on quick one-step slants. His ability to create separation as a route runner is impeccable, right? We tend to see that nature come from Alabama wide receivers. But not only just that, when he has the ball in his hands, he's so elusive. He can get away from guys. You mentioned guys that can create separation. You mentioned guys that are elusive. He can do all of that, as Benjamin had pointed out a little bit earlier. He is a top-tier wide receiver, and I think that him being wide receiver 1 is great because Jamar Chase didn't play in this last college football season. That hurts his stock a little bit. He did play on a very historic LSU national championship team. Absolutely. He was an alpha in that wide receiver room. We've seen Justin Jefferson involved, but DeVonta Smith, man, he is a different type of animal and the same beast altogether. And look, if you're a Dolphins fan, you should be excited if the Dolphins select him. But then again, I know the conversations we've had on social media. There's a lot of Dolphins fans that they don't want him to go wide receiver. They want him to go quarterback for some reason. To me, still very, kind of a crazy topic right now.
The Dolphins fan base over the last month seems to be a fan base that just doesn't know what it wants. It wants Tua, it wants Watson, it wants
Sounds like Denver.
Yeah, it is wild down in South Beach, at least the social media version of South Beach. So be very interesting to see. Look, the Dolphins had a receiver who had to step up due to the aforementioned issues before. His name is Jakeem Grant.
Yep.
He's smaller than DeVonta Smith, but I think Dolphins fans had long hoped he could be that guy, that multi-tool gadget kind of guy. I don't think he is, and I think DeVonta Smith could fit in there perfectly. Guys, the Senior Bowl is on the 30th. It's in 11 days. Benjamin Allbright is going to be down there, and Pro Football Network is going to have several people down there, including our senior draft analyst, Tony Pauline. Make sure you're keeping it tuned in to @PFN365 on Twitter and ProFootballNetwork.com for the latest updates. And then also our show next week, we'll have truckloads of Senior Bowl information.